sits on a grimy metal bench. He looks pristine but hollow, wearing his finest tailored suit, shoes polished to a mirror shine, clutching a sleek leather suitcase like an anchor. Inside his pocket, a one-way ticket to nowhere. The psychological weight isn't just financial. It's the crushing silence of isolation. He can still hear the phantom whispers of his neighbors. 40 years hard work, and you threw it all away on a link. The voice of his son, sharp as broken glass. I told you not to click at strange links, Dad. How could you be so stupid? 40 years of waking up at 4 a.m. to the scent of flour and scalding ovens at his bakery. 40 years of skipping anniversaries, vacations, and neglecting his own health so his family could live comfortably. He had watched his wife's hands crack from the heat of the ovens until cancer stole her away. Every single cent saved for his children's education, his retirement, vanished in the span of 4 seconds. A single phishing link disguised as an urgent tax refund. One click, the scammer on the other end had typed 2 words into a terminal. Game over. Welcome to Deadend Stories, where real crimes don't just end in death. They end in the kind of silence that follows you home. The tracks below him hum. The digital clock blinks, 9:11 p.m., 6 minutes left. He stands up, stepping right to the yellow-textured edge of the platform. The wind begins to whip his coat. The headlights of the incoming train appear in the distance like the eyes of a predatory beast. A pair of scuffed, mud-splattered Doc Martens steps directly into Jake's downward line of sight. The camera tilts up rapidly. Neon pink hair, ripped black jeans, a heavy duffel bag, and arms covered in a striking tattoo. Binary code interwoven with climbing roses. You look like you're waiting for a train that's obviously not going her way, Grandpa. A voice cuts through the static of his panic attack. A young white lady, barely 20, radiating a sharp, kinetic energy that cuts right through the station's depression. Her name is Jada. Jake didn't look up. His hands stayed clamped over his ears as a sob rips from his chest, physically bending him in half. Jada didn't offer a hand, neither did she offer pity. She kneels right in front of him on the dirty concrete, looking past the expensive suit straight into his hollow eyes. Let me guess, she says, her voice turning dangerously cold, stripped of its sarcasm, a green lock icon. A URL that looked 99% real. An urgent countdown timer, and then your bank account got cleaned out. Jake froze. The train sounds closer now. The metal rail screams under the friction, 9:13 p.m. How? How did you know that? Jake stammers. Jada looked at him with a sore smile. Exactly 1 year ago, on this exact bench, at this exact hour, they did it to me. 12 months ago, she wasn't Jada the Guardian. She was Jada Doosan, a 19-year-old running on black coffee and pure ambition. She had spent 18 grueling months coding an indie game called Spark Protocol in her mother's tiny apartment above a laundromat. She needed $11,400 for tuition at the State Tech Cyber Institute. She had it right here on Platform 7. She opened the payment portal link sent by what she thought was her academic advisor. She typed her details and hit the send button. The screen glitched and everything went blank. Minutes later, a notification appeared on her phone. Thanks for the tuition, kiddo. Better luck next life. Her balance instantly drained to an offshore shell account. Jada was broken, devastated, and furious with herself. She understood the intricacies of the digital world. She opened her cracked laptop right there on the platform and started a raw, unedited live stream. I just got scammed out of my future. Watch me fight back. The internet responded instantly. Sympathizers and encouraging messages. A crowdfund purse was raised instantly for her with donors all over the country. Coders from Mumbai joined the chat, reverse engineering the phishing domain in real time. By sunrise, she had turned her pain into a weapon. She dropped out of school, taught herself street-level ethical hacking, and turned Platform 7 into her personal hunting ground. She inked the binary roses over her wrist, a reminder that beauty could grow from broken code. They called themselves the Refund Kings. Jada tells Jake, bringing the timeline back to the present, 9:14 p.m. They used the same server loops, the same psychological pressure. They took my future and took your 40 years. But tonight, they don't get to win. Jada yanks an aggressive high-definition camera rig from her duffel bag. The lighting shifts to the bright, intense glow of mobile screens reflecting off the surrounding crowd. Before Jake can step back, Jada hits the broadcast button. No script, no polished editing. Just Jake's raw, tear-stained face under the brutal station lights. Live caption, 40 years of sweat and sacrifice, erased by one click. Let's take it back. Hashtags. Station Spark, crowdfund the baker, scam victims unite. Station Spark, crowdfund the baker, scam victim unit. She pins a crowdfunding link to the top of the chat. The response is instantaneous. The algorithm catches the sheer, unadulterated human drama. Donations crawled in: $5 from Canada, $50 from a retired cop in Chicago. The physical platform begins to change. Commuters stop by. A teenage girl with purple braids pulls out her own phone, filming Jada, filming Jake, amplifying the signal. A corporate businessman stops dead in his tracks, looks at his screen, then looks at Jake, transfers $500 right there. My wife lost everything to these bastards in 2021, he shouts over the ambient noise. Get him back on his feet by 9:16 p.m. The counter hits $42,000. The crowd on Platform 7 is swelling, not to watch a tragedy, but to participate in an uprising. A construction worker drops a crisp $50 bill right onto Jake's leather suitcase. For the first batch of bread, mate. Then, the psychological twist. Jada's phone vibrates with an encrypted black hat text message. Stop the stream or the old man gets worse than broke. The scammers are watching the stream. They are panicking. Jada doesn't flinch. She flips the camera directly onto her face, her eyes blazing with anger and absolute defiance. Listen to me, you keyboard cowards, she whispers fiercely into the lens. You thought he was isolated. You thought he was invisible. Look around you. Every donor is a witness. Every share is a digital footprint. I've already looped in federal cybercrime task forces, and my network is tracing your routing nodes while you type your little threats. You took his life with one click? We are taking it back with millions. The crowd on the platform erupts into a roar. Someone starts a chant that echoes off the iron rafters. Station Spark, Station Spark, Station Spakes. The train arrives in slow motion. The blinding white headlights wash over Jake's face, erasing the shadows. The sound design replaces the terrifying screech of the brakes with a gentle swelling lo-fi synth track. The digital clock strikes 9:17 p.m. The train roars to a complete halt, its doors sliding open. But Jake isn't looking at the tracks anymore. He's looking at Jada's screen. The counter has just crossed $117,480. A prominent tech CEO from Silicon Valley has just matched the entire fund and pinned a comment promising a pro bono legal elite squad to freeze the scammers' physical wallets. The fund generated, though, was not enough to replace what was missing. It was enough to buy back the mortgages, to reopen the bakery ovens, and enough to book a flight to see his son and mend the broken bridge. Jada slips her earbuds into Jake's ears, cutting out the chaotic roar of the station, replacing it with her tough exterior melting into something genuinely warm. This isn't charity, this is war fought with community, and we won. Jake's steps got up, stepping toward the train doors and turned, looks back at the pink-haired hacker who stood between him and the abyss. I don't even know how to thank you, he steamers, voice trembling. Jada grins, adjusting her bag. Bake me the first sourdough loaf when the ovens are hot. And tell your kids to stop clicking stupid links. That's the deal, Jake smiled. Will do, as he steps onto the train. As the carriage pulls away into the night on Platform 7, Jada turns back to the tracks, her binary roses catching the light, waiting for. If you enjoy this psychologically thrilling and pulsating story, kindly subscribe to Deadend Stories for more interesting stories.